Yep. Let me set up the and let me get the chat window out. Okay, right. Yeah. So today what we are going to look at is we are continuing to look at the opening strategy, right? We had a brief overall look. Then we looked at last week we looked at quick mobilization of forces, which is development, right? Quick development. That's what we looked at. Today we are going to look at what is the fight for the center, okay, and how central control can give you a lasting advantage and dominate the game, right? So that is what we will look at. So let us start. Okay, we'll look at two games today, and we'll see how the fight for the center is there and how both sides struggle for it, and maybe sometimes one side succeeds in getting a strong center. Okay, so let's get going. This is a game, e4 e5. It's an Italian opening game, so let us look at it. E4 e5, right? This is standard. You know it, both all these moves are very good for controlling the center and development. Bishop c4 comes on the Italian diagonal, also hits at d5 and f7, and black also responds back with the same thing, right? So black also responds back with bishop c5, and so all so far so good. You are having a harmonious development along with a fight for center, right? Then white plays c3, which is what is the main idea for c3 is to get a complete central control. C3
Sir,
followed by d4. Yeah,
I think a better move would be capturing the e5 pawn with the knight.
e5 pawn with the knight. You don't get much. I mean, you get, see, from the black side many times you do this tactic. Okay, from white side normally you don't do it, because what it leads to is it leads to equality, and from white side you are looking for more than equality, right? So the standard typical tactic that you mentioned, it is typically done from the black side. Okay, blacks will try to take the knight, will take the pawn on e4, and then when you capture the knight on c3, will capture the knight on e4, and then you will play d5, right? So that leads to equality. Okay, so that is the reason white does not play it, because white is already more than equal, right? When white is starting the game, it is like serving in a badminton or in tennis, right? When you are serving, you are having a slight advantage, so normally you are not happy with an equality, right? So that is the reason. So c3, and let us say what happens. So normally we have seen many times the theory of Italian opening, and where knight to f6 is played, and it is a very balanced game, right? Because it counter attacks, right? It counter attacks just when there is a chance, and it is not that white has got an advantage or something. White has got some attacking chances. Black has got his own chances, especially with the pawn on e4 being weak. So that is what is the thing. But here black plays d6, and many of you, we would also wonder, right? Why not? So let us see what happens if black plays not a very energetic move like knight f6, but an d6, right? So immediately white hits back at the, yeah, what are the alternatives to d6? Knight f6 is good. Queen e7 is also good, because what queen e7, plan of queen e7 is different from plan of knight f6. Knight f6 is attacking the e4 pawn. Okay, it doesn't do anything to defend its own e5 pawn when d4 comes. But queen e7 is not attacking e4, but it is defending the e5 pawn thing. So that when white plays d4, and then black does not want to capture the pawn on d4. Black bishop will go back to b6, and black will then if white takes the pawn on e5, then he's not having a broad center, right? That's not idea. His idea was to force the black to take on d4 and get a d4 and e4 pawns. That does not happen. Queen e7 also prevents it. So just have it in your back of your mind. You can always play queen e7 also. with a different strategy, but you have to follow it up with its own strategy. There is a very famous game, Alekhine versus, Alekhine was black, Tarrasch versus Alekhine. So Alekhine plays queen e7 and very nicely outplays Tarrasch. So okay, so here it is not. Black plays d6 with a modest thing, but then he has to be ready for d4, right? And d4. Now in this position now, see now black cannot simply retreat the bishop to b6, right? Because what will happen? Now you are forced to take on e4. Okay, so this is what happens because you have not played queen e7. Now you don't have a extra support, and the support of d6 is not good enough, because just you see what happens if bishop goes to b6, then white will take on e5. And if black also takes on e5, if black takes first, let us see what happens if he takes with the knight. Then knight will take back, and then pawn will take it, and then bishop will capture this pawn, and white will be one pawn up, right? King cannot capture the bishop because the queen will be gone. So
But so then where does the king go?
yeah, king will go to e7 or king will go to f8.
Bishop g5.
Not f8. It will go to e7 only, not f8, because the queen is going. So king will go to e7 in this case, and white will remain a pawn up, right?
But then bishop g5.
Bishop to g5, then knight f6 will come. In yeah, so it is not immediate. Yeah, so knight cannot take this, and if the pawn takes it, then also white will take this queen off. King takes the queen, right? If knight takes the queen, then anyway black is losing the e5 pawn. Okay, and if king takes it, then he's losing the f7 pawn. Whichever way you do it, you are going to lose a pawn. So that is the reason why in this position bishop cannot simply retreat. You cannot opt not to take the pawn. Okay, very important concepts in opening, and you have to see it. So queen e7 prevents all of this. If queen e7 is there, then bishop can go back to b6. Okay, because all these tactics that we saw, they do not work if queen is on e7. Okay, anyway, that's a side thing. So let us go ahead. So here now black is forced to take it. Then white gets it. It is still okay. But now what black does is black goes back with the bishop. And now this is a clear advantage for white. Okay, at least if bishop comes to b4, then he's kind of again pinning one piece. He's going to pin or exchange of white, and that will reduce the chance for attack. Okay, but here white black bishop goes back, so he's not really counter attacking enough, and it gives white a good way to develop. Knight c3. Fine. So see, white is not going to hurry. Okay, he knows that he has got advantage. Now he's going to build up the advantage. Okay, now because the black pawn is on d6, so you cannot advance the pawn e4 to e5. Okay, you cannot do that. If the black pawn was not on d6 for whatever reason, then you have got a tremendous advantage. Then you will just walk over black. But that is not going to happen. But doesn't mean that black has got equality. White has got an advantage, and white is going to slowly build up on that advantage. So knight f6, right? Fine. But now white castles, and black also castles. Okay, so far so good. Everything is okay. Nobody can win any pawn, but white has got a strong center. Okay, black is now trying to threaten what Uday you were saying earlier, right? Uday, or who was saying, Abhinav, I don't remember, but who was saying that knight takes e5, knight takes e4 is the idea that black is planning now. Now that his king is gone from the center to the safety, now next move that black is planning is, oh, I will take the pawn on e4, and if knight takes e4, then I will play d5, and then it will be a very good equal game, right? So that is what is the black's pawn. Okay, now black can also, there is an interesting move for black is to play bishop to g4 instead of castle. Okay, what does this do is this indirectly threatens the d4 pawn. Why? Because knight, one of the defender, is now pinned and it can get exchanged, and if it does get exchanged, then black has got a double force on d4, white has got only a single force. So that is the indirect. So this symbol cross, right, means attack on d4, okay, or threaten on d4. That is what is the meaning of this symbol here. And then white needs to defend it, right? And then black can attack the e5 pawn, right? And then white needs to see why e5 pawn, sorry, e4 pawn, because now there is a double attack on e4, right? So white needs to if white drops back with the bishop, then your d pawn will fall, because the bishop, if comes to d3, then it will interfere with the queen support to the d4. So you don't want to do that. So queen d3, right? And then see, all this thing is black can castle queen side. This is one strategy for black, right? So this is one possible, and it's an interesting. Why doesn't he play d5? When are you saying it?
So right now, when our queen comes here.
Wait, let us go back and see. After castle, after white's castle.
So when black keeps the queen at e7.
Okay, so let us. So what you meant is bishop to g4, and then bishop to e3, queen e7, then queen d3, and now you are saying here, why not play d5? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Why not play d5? Okay, so what? I mean, white will simply take the pawn on d5.
So with the knight.
Not with the knight. He can take
Sir?
it. He can take it with the knight, or he can take it with the pawn better, because he will open the
Sir?
e file. King is there.
So which pawn?
Black can take the knight on f3 and damage the structure.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
but white is going to attack even before that, because your queen. So if keep file opens
Sir.
up, yeah.
Or black can play a knight to b4.
e5, not e5.
No. I think Sai Pranav was talking about d5. Okay, d5 will simply lose the pawn. Okay.
How?
d5 will simply lose the pawn. Okay, you can right now, if you want to take an f3, you can do that. Yeah, and it is an interesting move, no doubt. It is an f3. Bishop takes f3. G pawn will have to take f3, right? And there is a strategy that thing white, so that castling is damaged. But please remember that black has not yet castled, so it is not like this one. So it is possible to play bishop takes f3. Okay. And that's why I think you should look at multiple games. What happens in, so you will find a lot of games with this one, and you should just strategically look at what is happening where here. Okay, so here let us go back. Castle. Okay, castle, and then white drops back with the bishop, because he does not want that d5 tactic now. So black does play bishop to g4, and white does, because it is an indirect threat now on d4. So white does support it with a developing his own bishop and supporting d4. Okay. Now h6 is why does black play h6? I can't really tell, because already white has played bishop to e3. So white is not going to waste a move going from bishop to g5, and knight cannot go to g5. So it not immediately. It is not immediately. Nobody is going to g5. So that you have to play h6. But h6 will, in general, later on it will help. So black is kind of playing it. I think black could have played with a developing move now. Maybe queen e7 or something instead of h6. Okay, putting further pressure on e4, and then rook could have also come. The two rooks would have got connected. So I might have played, instead of h6, queen e7. Okay, so anyway, let us go ahead. So white senses that he's going to come. He anyway plays queen d3, and now at this point of time, there is a decision point for black. Either he has to take on f3, right? If he does not take on f3, then the knight can now move, right? And then no longer the bishop will not get a chance. So it is a decision point. In the game, black plays rook to e8. continuing with the standard development and not taking on f3, but it was possible to take on f3. It was not a, these are all equal kind of things. You choose a path, and it is every time it is not that only one move is great and all others are bad. Sometimes you have 2 or 3 good options and you have to choose based on your temperament, liking, this, that, etc. Right? Many times you will have at least 2 or 3 moves which are almost equally good, and you have to choose, and based on the strategy or what plan you have in mind, etc. So what? Let us look at what if black had taken bishop f3, then gf3, then queen d7. Why queen d7?
If you go to h3.
See, immediately you have to, if you have played this and you have given up your bishop, white has got double bishops now, black has got only a single bishop. Now you have to play to your advantage, queen d7, and now white has to prevent it. How? King g2, right? And then black plays knight h5. What is the idea of knight h5? There are 2 things. One is that knight might, so he will want to play f5 now, because see, now there is a king side attack. Black wants to do a king side attack, right? And to do that, best is now play f5, so that make an open file and let the rook on f8 come into picture, and maybe possibly put the other rook also onto e8. Not the f8 will not, rook will not move to e8. Rook a2 will move to e8 in this position. Right, that will be the black strategy, and obviously white will also try to counter it. But yeah, so knight h5, and then with the idea that okay, white will also try to play rook a d1, then black will, what is the idea? Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4. Oh yeah, beautiful. See, what is the idea of knight h5? There is a tactical shot. Knight takes d4. Now you have to take it with the bishop, right? You have to take it with the bishop, and then you get knight.
And so you
f5.
do f4, knight f4.
Sorry, knight to f4 is 4 king. Right? Obviously, white will not easily allow it. Right? White will do something about it. Right? But this is how the game progresses, and this is how strategically you play. Is you catch one thread, and then you try to play along that thread. Okay. So fine. So here in the game, what happens is black does not exchange it. That is not what he wants. So rook to e8, and then white immediately grabs that opportunity, and he does not want to let the castling structure be thing. So white has got a slow attack in mind. Okay, so he brings the knight to think further, supporting the e4 pawn. Now black goes ahead, but now it is a kind of pointless black's thing. If black had, instead of bishop g4 or instead of rook e8, he had done this, it would have been a slightly better. Now it is like white is already ahead of it, right? White knows black is doing this and already taken care of it. So now white manages to put his rook on a on e file in front of the queen, right? It is not right now. There are a lot of things in between, but still it is eyeing the queen, right? Then black also develops his thing, his rook to d8. Interesting thing here, white plays a3, and white is a3. Somebody had pointed out a move, right? There was a chance that knight could have gone to b4 and harassed the queen, right? So here white wants to prevent it. Now we can always go back and see why black did not play knight to b4 when it had a chance, right? Maybe so knight b4 is always a move you have to consider. Okay, but now white is ahead of the game, so white prevents it, and now queen goes to f8. I can't really, I mean, black is a bit passive now. Black is definitely passive now. So whatever the chances that he had, he has not really taken them, and he has gone into a defensive fully style. So white goes ahead with the attack, f4. Now white has got a tremendous central control. Right? Now at this point, the master will say that, okay, this is a definite advantage for white. Okay, but doesn't mean that it is not a material advantage. It's a positional advantage. Right? What is the idea? See, what is the idea? F4 to F5. He wants to push the pawn to F5, then H3 and G4 and trap the bishop. Right? So that is what is the idea of white behind playing F4. Not just a thing. There are many ideas, but one of the idea is also cut off the retreat of the black bishop. And once it is cut off, then actually the bishop will fall. Right? So let us go ahead. What does black play? Bishop to C8. So black senses this and he retreats the bishop before white locks it in. Okay, but now white plays H3, anyway, not allowing the bishop or the knight also. See, the knight also can come to G4 and kind of threaten the white's bishop on E3. Not threaten in the sense that he will want to exchange it off. And see, anytime whenever you are in a defensive position, if you exchange off some pieces, good pieces, it will actually help you, right? Because it will always help the defensive position to exchange off some pieces. So white does not want to allow, so H3 and king H8. So why king H8? Because black is now hoping to actually move the F pawn. Okay, not immediately, but later on. Okay, maybe 2-3 moves down the line. So that is why he puts the king to safety on H8. So G4, white goes ahead with his attack on the king side. And white can play this only because his center is very strong. Okay, black is not able to make any counter blow in the center. Otherwise, white would not have dared to play F4 and G4. Okay. See, is there anything black can do something in the center? No, black still cannot do anything in the center.
Connect 4 with pawns.
Yeah, 4 connected pawns. Yeah. But you have to be careful with such pawns because all of them are advanced and only like unless they are very well defended, it is difficult to. In this case, they are well defended. So you
And
can.
also, I think pushing the pawns might not be so good.
Pushing pawn for whom? Black or white?
White.
Yeah, white is not immediately not going to push, but he's going to prepare and push further. Now that he's already got a very broad center, right? So white is going to now just not hurry, but he's going to definitely plan a pawn advance, but with some preparation. So black is already getting a little bit jittery. So knight E7 he plays. I have not analyzed this game very much in deep depth, so I can't tell you each and every move. I cannot tell you what is the ideas. But black is kind of regrouping. Black. So white also wants to get away because he knows if pawns get exchanged and all lines will open up. So he wants to go to the H file for safety. Yeah, and now black. Okay, so why did black go to E7? Because he wanted to play D5 and to provide additional support to it. That is why the C knight went to E7. So, but what white does is white is not obligated to capture the pawn. So white has got a pawn advance also possible, right? So that is what white does. So now it is very clear. White's advantage is very, very clear now, right? Can you see it visually? Can you sense it that white has got a clear central advantage now? So white pushes. Now that the F6 knight is gone, so white takes this. Not gone means gone away. So white takes advantage now and starts pushing. And if black pushes, black does try to stop it, but then again white is not obliged to play it, exchange the pawn. White is even better. White has got a tremendous pawn chain now, going all the way to E6. This is a very decisive advantage. Okay. So black tries to somehow hold his own center, etc. But see, now white has already got a passed pawn on the 6th rank, right, which is considered as almost like an extra pawn. So if you do a computer evaluation, it will give you +1 something or maybe +1.5 of this position because you have got a you have got a supported passed pawn. This is called as a supported passed pawn. It is a passed pawn and it is supported by another pawn. That is very key, right? So, and there is no other, now there is no other, any other black pawn is not able to threaten this e6 pawn. So if at all black wants to do something, he will have to sacrifice a piece against this pawn, right? That is why it is so much advantageous. So white plays bishop to f4. Bishop to f4. Black plays knight to g8. And white is harassing the other bishop also. See, the other bishop cannot go to c7 now. Earlier it could have gone to c7. Now it cannot go to c7. So knight. What is white's idea? White idea is to take the bishop on b6 and then play bishop to c7. Then he will win a pawn. Right? Knight takes b6, a takes b6, bishop to c7 will win a pawn. So black does not want to allow it. He would rather at least exchange himself for a knight here. So white says, okay, that is fine. I don't mind if you exchange it on d2. And queen comes to e7. And white moves his direction of the queen. So queen g3 is a good move in the sense that it is along with the bishop, it is eyeing the queen side also, especially the c7 square. Plus queen coming on g3 will also aid the attack on the king side. Very soon white is also going to attack on the king side. So both sides, I think queen on g3 is a good move. I mean, it's a great possibility for white. And why it is all of this thing is that because already the pawn has moved to g4, so pawn is there ahead, so pawn is going to make a attack, and queen and rook are going to support it from behind. So black tries to get some counterplay, but knight has got a very nice square on c5. And then if the bishop goes on b6, doesn't matter. White will simply cement his knight on c5. It is called an outpost, right? An outpost is knights typically love outposts because it is an outpost if it cannot be moved or harassed by a pawn, opponent's pawn. See, the knight is gone to c5 when already the b and the d pawns have moved to 5th rank. So now there is no chance of any pawn poking the knight. So the knight is very stable. As long as you support it with another pawn also, it is no problem. So now there is no, white is saying, okay, you want to exchange the bishop for my knight. I don't have a problem. I will happily take it, and I will place a pawn on c5, which will further give me control of the d6 square. Right. So where were we? Knight to f8. Black is, see, what has happened is that, see, white is not attacking outrageously and like force like thing. White is slowly attacking, and black is passive. He just has to maneuver on the last 2 ranks. He cannot really come forward too much. Right? When such thing happen, it is worth sacrificing a pawn also to get some counter attack. Okay, because it is very difficult to play passively like this. But that is what is black is accepted. So now he tries to play a bit thing. What if he had played a6, then a b5, rook a1. See, white is grabbing the open a file, and black is not in a position to counter it because of its own pieces coming in the way. The rooks are cut off from the a file. Right? So this is what would happen if black played a6. So instead black plays a5. And then knight d to b3, and black takes pawn. If black had taken this pawn on b4, then a pawn would have started pushing forward, and it would have been a very, very powerful pass pawn. Okay, bishop a7 and bishop to c7. See, this would have been a, see, in fact the rook is going to go now because white is going to win an exchange with this, plus there is a passed pawn on e6 plus a passed pawn on a5, right? So black instead takes, b takes a4, knight takes a5. Now c6 pawn is threatened, so bishop takes c5 and knight takes c6. Bishop takes d4. What is this? Okay,
Queen is hanging, no?
queen is hanging, but for there must be, black must be looking to get something, right? Black must be looking to get something. Otherwise, it is already gone. It is already. I think this game is gone completely. Bishop to c7. Yeah. Bishop to e5. Okay, that is what. That is what is the thing. But then rook takes e5. Yeah. And then rook takes c7. Still, it is game is gone. I think it is pretty much gone. I think. Yeah, this is. I think it is. After this, it is gone. Yeah, I mean we can see it, but I think so. By see, you could see that by 28, 27, 28 move, it has almost that white has got a very tremendous advantage. Black could have still played slightly better, not given up so easily, but you saw how the attack came along, right, with the central control. And it is important, I think, very important that if you get a central advantage, sometimes it is possible for you, if there is no black pawn in sight to stop it, or if the black does not have a defensive proper setup, then you can even advance your pawns. In Italian opening, sometimes you have seen those e5, d5 and d6, etc. But if it is not possible, it is always okay for you to hold the center, keep the control, and slowly work towards your advantage. Okay. So what I suggest is, this game, you go through it and you look at many other alternatives for black. You keep looking at it and you see what happens. At least for the first 20 moves, you look at it. Okay. So after 20 moves, you are into the proper middle game and all. Then you can see it. Even there, there are chances for black to play differently. You can always go through it. But first 20 moves are very instructive of how both sides play for things. White is slightly better. White is a better player here, so he is able to overpower black. But still, it is instructive to follow this. Okay. Yeah. Why did black hang his queen? Yeah, I also didn't understand it. I have to look at it. See, at this point of time, this whole setup, right? This whole setup. There was no way to defend also, right? C6, there was no way to defend. See, that is what is the predicament of black. Yeah, I know, 5 minutes left, but we'll just see this and then we'll continue back. So bishop takes c5, knight takes c6. Now you could have gone to, queen could have gone to b7, but yeah.
Because if the queen went to b7, white would keep the pawn onto e7.
Yeah, white will want to put pawn on e7 and then the rook will go, rook or knight, right? So one of them will go. So that's what it had become very, very difficult for. No, but pawn on e7, bishop will take it, right? So first, see, queen b7, first the bishop on c5 needs to be captured, right? You can't simply play pawn to e7.
So by the time white captures the black bishop, black will capture the knight.
Exactly. So I still think that here queen to b7 to me looks like offering a better resistance. Though the rook will fall, rook on d8 is going to fall with the knight. Knight is going to first take the rook on d8. Then the black will have to take with his rook. He will have to take the knight, and then white will take the bishop, right? So then the bishop goes. Yeah. So that is what would have happened. But it is better than hanging the queen. So I don't know what calculation black did here. There is nothing here. I mean, hanging the queen is, there is absolutely no chance after this. It is not that black has got some way of winning back the queen or something like that. So there is nothing like that. So this looks to me like a mistake under pressure.
So what do we see what the light chess engine says about this position? Like
Yeah, you can put it, right? You can put it. I have not put it, but you can put it and you can just show. I'm sure that it will find either queen b7 or some other similar move. It will find it better than this one. So
okay, so I just took a screenshot and check it out later.
sure. Okay. So what we will do is I'm